Today is Wednesday, February 11th, 2026, and if I have the privilege of meeting you yet, my name is Elliot. I'm a resident here at Church Where You Are, and I'm so excited to be jumping into this morning's daily with you. Before we jump into the daily this morning, let me know in the chat where you're tuning in from, even what platform you're on. We have people from all over the country that get to join us on several different platforms like the Church Where You Are app, the Church Where You Are online program, or Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube. Just let me know in the chat where you're tuning in from. We are on day 3 of our series, Watch Your Mouth. Before we get into the devotion this morning, I would encourage you to share this with someone. Share this with someone that you think that might need to hear it or just might be encouraged by a daily message. Today's devotion is titled Sharing Truth with Grace. And we know the expression, the truth hurts. And it does hurt sometimes, especially when it's coming from the right person or just at the specific time. It hurts. The truth does hurt. And everybody's idea of truth can look a little different if we're not relying on the truth that God has given us, if we're not following the blueprint that God has given us, or life instructions, as we could call it, the Bible. If we're not following the living word, then everybody's truth can look a little bit different. 1 John chapter 4, verse 7 through 8 says, "Dear friends, let us continue to love one another, for love comes from God. Anyone who loves is a child of God and knows God. But anyone who does not love does not know God, for God is love." See, when you speak the truth in someone's lives, even if it's the truth, even if you're 100% correct in what you're saying, if it does not come from love, it does not come from God. It's just a reality. It's a reality that you can speak truth from a place of hate or a place of just wanting to be right. But that truth does not come from God. Love comes from God. God is love. So if our truth does not come from love, it doesn't come from God. And there's a reality that Christians in our society, and for thousands of years, more so in the past, but still currently, are being squeezed. The Christian faith, the Christians in general as individuals, are being squeezed by the world, by their fleshly desires, by who society thinks that we should be or who we are. We're being squeezed by this world. And I would imagine if you squeezed an orange and apple juice came out, you'd be pretty confused, as would I. So why, when Christians are squeezed, does hate come out and not love? If you would be confused if you squeezed an orange and apple juice came out, why are we not confused when Christians get squeezed and hate comes out instead of love? It's just a question of what you're filled with is what will come out. So if we do not fill ourselves with love, then when we get squeezed, when we're put in a position of turmoil or even argument and we're right, we will speak our truth from a place of hate and not love. So don't go around saying, "I'm just speaking the truth and they need to hear it." Well, they needed to hear this. If your truth doesn't come from love, it doesn't come from God. And just because you're speaking the truth, just because you are right in that moment, there's a place to speak truth and there's a place for silence. Your love may look like silence. I would encourage you, if you haven't read the book of Job, to read it. When Job starts to struggle, you see his friends, the people that were closest to him, join him. They come into his company, but then they didn't say anything. It says for a week. They walked to his house. They joined him because he was going through something, but they didn't speak right away. See, love doesn't have to be from words. It can be from presence. You can speak the truth without words. You can show your love for somebody without using words. So if you cannot speak the truth from a place of love, it's not the time to speak. It's a time to remain silent. Even if you know that you're right. Even if you know you're going to speak the truth, if you can't speak it from a place of love, it's time to be quiet. 1 Corinthians 13, verses 4 through 6 says, "Love is patient and kind. Love is not jealous or boastful or proud or rude. It does not demand its own way. It is not irritable and keeps no record of being wronged. It does not rejoice about injustice, but rejoices whenever the truth wins out." See, it's not about being right. It's not about having our way because we speak the truth. It's about spreading God's love through the truth. And when that wins out, that's when we can rejoice. Not about being right, but the truth through God's love has prevailed. And we have to remind ourselves, in order to speak the truth, that every single one of us was made in the image of God. Not the people you like, not the people that go to church, not the people that call themselves Christians. Everybody was made in the image of God, whether they reject that gift or embrace it. Whether they're a Christ follower, a Christian goer, a church goer, they're made in the image of God. And when we lose sight of that, we lose sight of the love through God, through truth. We can't spread God's truth through love if we lose sight of the fact that everybody was made in the image of God. When we keep sight of the fact that somewhere in somebody, even if it's the worst person you know, even if it's somebody you dislike all the way to your core, somewhere in there is a piece of God. Somewhere in there is that image that was reflected into them. They just have lost sight of it, and maybe so have you. When we lose sight of that, we begin to fight flesh and blood, which is not our enemy according to the Bible. Flesh and blood is not our enemy. But we lose sight of that when we lose sight of the image of God that was made within every single one of us. Again, not just the pastor, not just the Christ followers, not just the churchgoers. Every single one of us was made in the image of God. So when you're arguing with somebody, when you want to just speak the truth and have to prevail and be right, remember that they were made in the image of God, as were you. So if we keep sight of that, if we look at what is made in the image of God in our own heart, we can see the truth reflected through love and not through hate. So again, we have to keep sight of the piece of us that was made in the image of God in order to speak truth through love. Not just within somebody else. You can't just look at somebody else and say, okay, they were made in the image of God. So were you. You were also made in the image of God. And we have to remain in that idea, because we all have had that feeling. If you haven't, I'm happy for you, but I'm sure you've had the feeling where you looked in the mirror, you saw yourself in the mirror, and you didn't like what you saw. It's because you saw the flesh. You saw these earthly desires. You saw the temptation, the hate that's in us, that is our flesh. But if we look within ourselves and see what is the image of God, if we see the piece of us that was given to us from God, then we will begin to speak truth through love. There's this expression that you shouldn't burn the bridges, right? Even if you break off from your old company, you shouldn't break it off violently or in a way that causes hate or disillusion. Just keep that bridge in case you need it. I'm asking you this morning to do the opposite with your flesh. Burn it. When you set your eyes on the piece of yourself that was made in the image of God, let the other things burn. Let them set flames to them. You don't need that. You don't need what your flesh says you need. There's plenty of examples in the Bible where they didn't even eat. They fasted for God, saying, I don't even need the thing that my flesh wants the most. So I'm asking, when you see what God has given you, when you see the piece of yourself that is reflected directly from God's image, set fire to the rest of it. Ephesians 4, verse 15 says, instead, we will speak the truth in love, growing in every way more and more like Christ, who is the head of his body, the church. We need to continue to grow more and more like him, which means we need to starve the things of our flesh. We need to feed the Spirit, feed that piece of you that was made in God's image, and starve the rest of it. The rest can burn. when we are faced with the idea of we see the piece of us that is made in the image of God, fix your eyes on God. Fix your eyes on that piece of you that was made in His image. Words of truth spoken in love are words spoken in obedience to God, is what the devotion said. Words of truth spoken in love are words spoken in obedience to God and His commandments, which is to love God and love others. When we speak words of love, that is when words spoken in obedience to God, which means the times that we speak hate, we should say, well, that's just a part of life. No, it should be unacceptable. We should view speaking truth through a lens of hate or through a lens of just wanting to be right as unacceptable. And speaking words of love as obedience to God. That should be where our hearts are set on. Is I want to speak truth through love because that's what God has commanded me to do. The rest is unacceptable. Let the rest burn, is what I'm telling you. Set your eyes on what is made in you that is from God and make the rest of it be unacceptable. And again, that's not a one-time decision. That's a daily thing. Sometimes more than once a day. That is a decision that we as Christ followers have to make and are forced to make. Our world or scenario, the devil, is going to force us to make that decision over and over. We have to die to ourselves and let our flesh burn. Thank you so much for joining me this morning in the Daily. If this encouraged you this morning or just turned something in your heart or just inspired you a little bit, share this with someone. Share this with someone that you think might help. And if you need prayer and you're on the Church Where You Are app, please hit the request prayer button. And if you're on the Church Where You Are online platform, please put it in the chat. We have a team that would love to pray over you. And on any of our socials, again, please put that in the comment section in the chat. We have a team that would love to pray over you. Please feel free to reach out to me directly at Elliot Moore on any social, and I will help you. I will pray over you. And I have a team, again, that would love to pray over you. Have a great day, everyone, and come back tomorrow for another edition of the Daily at the same time and place.